All right, these players are presenting decks. I didn't see who won the die roll. It's a big one in this matchup. Miracles would love to get out a Sensei's Top underneath a Chalice. So we'll see what the outcome is here. As both players do check their opening hands, it looks like Sam Reed's hand might have been a little shy on mana sources. He's got a pair of Cavernous Souls, but no fast lands. Now he does have plenty of them to draw, so looks like he might be keeping. And Drake is leading out on top off of a flooded strand. So this is about as good as you can hope for. That basic island to fight some wastelands, and that Sensei's Top to really get things going. Sensei's Divining Top, when combined with fetch lands and cards like Brainstorm and the other miracles, is a powerful game plan. Looks like Sam's read for the draw for the turn was the kind of card he's looking for in an Ancient Tomb. Now he'll fall to 18 and get that Chalice on one, but Drake is ready with a Force of Will, dumping Counterbalance, which is actually a pretty heads up play. Now it may be his only blue card, but I think it's more likely he knows he's playing against Eldrazi and they have Cavernous Souls, so the Counterbalance isn't going to stop much anyhow. So Drake, intelligent Miracles player, tossing that Counterbalance to the wayside in order to facilitate his Force of Will and leaving himself with the maximum number of options. Seems likely here we will see an Eldrazi Mimic this turn, played off of that ancient, whatever it's called, Ancient Tomb, and with that he will be able to get his offenses started. All right, so not sure what the decision point here is. I assume Sam's gonna play something, or Samuel. Looks like he's taking two and he's going with the Eldrazi Mimic, but he's playing it with Cavernous Souls to make it uncounterable. That's a heads up play there. As long as that is an option, it's probably the best way to do it. Now, Sam could really kickstart his game plan here with something like an Eldrazi Temple, or the other one, the name evades me right now. I have Ugin. One of those two would really put a lot of pressure on Drake, as he would be able to start Sam would be able to start deploying multiple bad critters per turn. Now that second Cavernous Souls allows Sam to play his Thought-Knot Seer here, and it is uncounterable. So Drake is going to have to make any brainstorm decisions before this Thought-Knot Seer resolves, and then the trigger from the Thought-Knot Seer will give Sam a look at Drake's hand. We will see what Drake is working with. Drake still giving heed to Wasteland as a card by fetching only his basics. In this case, a signed foil basic. That looks like one of the Zendikar. Oh, and Drake is opting to play Vendilion Click instead of a Brainstorm or something like that, and he is choosing to get rid of the Warping Whale, as that is a card that could counter something like a Terminus, which would be a really good out for Drake here. Looks like his draw was another Ancient Tomb, which I mean, it's not a great draw, but it's not terrible. Um, it's serviceable now. Drake loses his Jace the Mind Sculptor to the Thought Not Seer, and this Eldrazi Mimic is going to attack for the full Monty. 4 points of damage as Drake falls to 14, same as Sam. On the upkeep, Drake is going to spin his top. Looks like he found a Swords to Plowshares. I didn't see what else he may have found there, though. A Swords would be a good find right now, though, as a way to deal with that Thought Not Seer. Maybe draw into an extra card. Here comes the Vendilion Click. Wonder if this means that there is a Terminus in our future, perhaps. I think it's very likely we will see an enormous Endless One deployed this turn, and simply an attack with both creatures, the Thought Knot and the Eldrazi Mimic. This matchup has become sort of the premier Clash of the Titans with regards to Legacy. They are the two most heavily played decks in the format, and there's a lot of play to this matchup. Both decks are trying to generate a huge amount of value out of their spells. Eldrazi by making enormous sort of unstoppable or semi-unstoppable threats, and Miracles by using cards like Terminus and Counterbalance to sort of generate this virtual card advantage. But they're both heavy hitting decks. This isn't Storm or some of the like Infect type decks. There we have a Swords to Plowshares on Thought Not Seer. Should gain Sam Reed 4 life, and Eldrazi Mimic hits for 6. Drake falls, I believe, to just 8. The life dice aren't updated, but he should have been at 14, and the hit for 6 will put him down to 8. Drake drew what looks like a Council's Judgment for the turn, and I think I saw Venser Shaper Savant in the other cards on top of his library. So right now Drake is under some pressure. He's gonna have to find some answers, because being only at 8 life, you could fall dangerously low after this attack. Sam found another Thought Knot Seer. That seems like a stronger play this turn than another Endless One. Sam falls to 7 now, and notable here, Drake has been missing some land drops. So Sam falls to 9 off of his Ancient Tomb, and the Thought Knot Seer is going to produce a trigger to steal a card out of Drake's hand. Meanwhile, Drake, I assume, is digging for something like a Terminus. Can't really see what Drake is looking at, but whatever it is, I assume it'll be something halfway decent. So Drake has finished his top his top spin resolution, and Sam now has to decide what card he wants to take with Thought Not Seer. Drake will probably be taking a hit for. Looks like the choice was for the Vendilion Click, as that would provide another chump blocker for a turn. And Drake is gonna fall to just 3 life after chump blocking with his Vendilion Click. I take it Drake did not find a Terminus. Otherwise, he may have opted to do that this turn instead. Swords to Plowshares deals with Thought Not Seer. Drake draws a card, finds a Ponder. Ponder's going to have to find something good here. Something like a Terminus. Now it looks like Drake used his top here. I guess that was end of turn to draw the Swords to Plowshares. Now Drake is going to need to find a Terminus. Terminus is the only card at this point that can keep him alive, I believe, as he should now be at 2 life. And assuming we are approaching the pinnacle point of this match, let's see, we've got Drake's deck list here. He does have the full set of Terminus, so he could in theory find the card he's looking for. It's gonna take some doing, but he hasn't seen any yet, and he has the Sensei's top and one one. Oh no, I guess maybe he doesn't have the top. I'm not sure. Nope, here it comes. Yeah, he should have drawn that for turn. That's right. All right, so Drake opting not to look for a Terminus right away. Looks like a Eldrazi Mimic was the find. I think Drake may want to, given that Sam may want to just go for the attack right now. Given that Drake has to find an answer. Yep. Instead of deploying more threats into the potential Terminus, Sam just goes for the attack, and Drake has no answer. So these players are going to head to the sideboards quick, and we will do the same. We'll start with Drake this time. He has a Venser, a Blood Moon, 2 Wear and Tears, 1 Pithing Needle, 3 Pyroblasts, 2 Flusterstorms, 2 Rest in Peace, 1 Cavern of Souls, and 2 Izzet Static Casters. The Venser Shaper Savant is strong here, as it's a creature and a blocker and an answer to Eldrazi, things like Thought Not Seer and the like. It's not the best answer, but it's probably better than cards like Counterbalance, which really can't do anything against Cavern of Souls. The Blood Moon is almost certainly coming in. It's a great answer to the Eldrazi creatures. They need colorless mana to cast their some of their better creatures, and Blood Moon makes it so that none of their lands can provide colorless. So that's good. The 2 Wear Tears will certainly come in as they're good answers to Chalice of the Void and the potential Trinisphere or Thorns of Amethyst out of the Eldrazi sideboard. The Pithing Needle is probably not so good here, as are Pyroblast, Flusterstorm, Rest in Peace. None of these things are really all that important. We may see a Cavern of Souls on Drake's side just as an extra land and another way to guarantee he doesn't miss land drops. That was probably part of the reason Drake had a lot of trouble that game, was just not having sufficient mana to be able to deploy like his Jace the Mind Sculptors and so on. I don't know that Izzet Static Caster is the kind of card that should come in here. It really only stops Eldrazi Mimic. All the other Eldrazi are too big. So yeah, I think probably just the Blood Moon, the Wear Tear, and the Venser Shaper Savants. On the Eldrazi side, we have Thorn of Amethyst, which I think is defensible. You could definitely make an argument for bringing those in. So all 4 of those potentially. The 1 World Breaker is actually probably all right. I mean, it's a little slow, but it's another huge hitter that has to be dealt with. Its recursive ability isn't at its best here, but just being a 5/7 is solid. And the games are almost certainly going long. It has reach too, I believe, which is not without merits against the potential of Entreat the Angels. The 4 Leyline of the Void are probably not coming in. 1 Helm of Obedience is almost certainly not coming in. 2 Phyrexian Revokers is defensible. They are an answer to both Jace the Mind Sculptor and Pithing. They act like a Pithing Needle against Sensei's Divining Top. So I think we could see those come in. All is Dust, probably not. Endbringer's a good one. Another huge creature that has to be dealt with on its own. That's actually much better than Worldbreaker. I think Endbringer is far more likely to come in. And the one of Trinisphere is also just good. It makes the miracles expensive. It makes all of the cheaper spells expensive. And really causes no problems for the Eldrazi deck. On the way out should probably be some number of Lotus Petals, Dismembers, and Spatial Contortions. Those cards not doing a lot in this matchup. Same thing with Umazaz Jite. This is not really the match for the removal. Even though Drake is on the more legend heavy or legendary miracles with the creatures, I just feel like most of that's not all that good. That's not really what you want to do. It's not where you want to be. You'd prefer to have um, more of the permanent sort of answers or interaction with the mana efficiency of miracles. So it looks like both players were able to keep their openers, and Drake has opened up on a Sensei's Divining Top, which he is now spinning on his own upkeep. Looks like I saw at least one Volcanic Island, although I don't think Drake needs that yet, given that he has enough lands. Like I think I saw a Tundra in his hand, which yeah, and there's a Caracas. So now looks like the draw was an Eldrazi Temple, and we already have a Cavern of Souls. So depending, I assume he named Eldrazi, although he could have named Horror for this Phyrexian Revoker, which would actually be a way of stopping the Sensei's Divining Top. Now we'll see if that resolves, and if he did indeed name Horror. Now Drake is going for the end of turn Swords to Plowshares to turn his Sensei's Divining Top back on, which makes sense. The deck functions infinitely better with the top than without it. So you gotta keep your toys active. And this is how Drake wants to play. He wants no permanents, make all of his land drops, even if he can't counter the creatures. He just Here comes a Thought-Knot Seer, and it is uncounterable. So we're gonna have a top spin, and he'll just reveal his hand as the Thought-Knot Seer can't be stopped. Now, Sam Reed has a definite trump in his hand, and that is a pair of wastelands. Those two wastelands represent a lot of pressure on Drake's mana base, as Drake hasn't drawn any fetch lands, or at least not any that we've seen. Well, we know he hasn't drawn any because he still has them. Uh, all of his lands in his hand, or his entire hand's revealed. So currently, those, like I said, those wastelands represent a big game. Um, looks like looks like Sam is considering going after either Venser, Shaper Savant, or Jace the Mind Sculptor. Both of these would be legitimate calls. Looks like Jace is the one Sam has decided to go with, and we will probably see Drake deploy that tropical island, or I mean that volcanic island. Sorry, and his backup Jace. That's rock solid, absolutely rock solid. Jace is going to bounce the Thought-Knot Seer, and that means a free draw step. It's a free draw step if he does go that route. If Drake chooses not to, I feel like he's definitely putting his Jace at a huge risk, because after that he probably won't be able to bounce it. I guess I guess I guess Drake could try and go the route of using Defensor, but Drake just has to be fearful of something like a Reality Smasher. If he just brainstorms, he'll lose it. If he minuses, he'll probably lose it. Actually, I think minus is probably the best call, but even so, that Jace cannot be long for this game, as Reality Smasher will come down and almost certainly take care of it. Um, that does mean that Drake gets to keep his mana around a little longer, and the Wastelands won't be available, because they'll have to be used to cast the Reality. Oh, there's a backup Smasher. That's bad. Um, and with the Warping Whale in hand, that means that a Terminus is going to be difficult to resolve as well. Drake's going to need some solid draws here. This Eldrazi deck just really puts its opponents in a vice right from the get-go. But that's sort of what these Stompy decks have always been designed to do, is to present a lot of questions and make your opponent come up with a lot of good answers. I think we'll see the Reality Smasher take care of Jace the Mind Sculptor here, and Thought Not Seer will go directly at Jace. But yep, that Reality Smasher is a beating. Drake falls to 16 from that hit, and we will see what the draw yields. Now Drake has to know that his time is running out. And there we have a Brainstorm. None of those looked like Terminus, which is unfortunate for Sasser. He could really use a Terminus now, and he is running out of time before. Now, if Drake's heads up here, he will fetch another Tundra, as he has to be able to maintain a white source with the threat of that, the Wasteland. Now, Drake doesn't know that there's a second Wasteland waiting, but it will certainly wreck his opportunities. Yep. So playing around the Wasteland, he's going for the island, but I think maybe he's realizing now he can't afford to do that. Oh, and Drake has chosen to go for the volcanic island instead. Not sure what that means. Like I said, I would have thought going for the Tundra would be the preferred land target or land card here. Drake spins his top. Oh, sorry. Not sure what he's found. If he has something like a Terminus here. We know Drake didn't have any Force of Will available to him. There's a counterbalance, which if not sure what Drake is trying to set up here. Wasteland goes for Caracas. Caracas spins the top. Looks like Drake has found not a whole lot of game there. Sam wants to really seal the deal here. I think he should go for that Tundra right now too. Just take out all the white sources, leave Drake with no outs. But we'll see. Maybe Sam wants to deploy a second Reality Smasher and just put the clamps down. The problem with that is it really plays into a Terminus, something awful. You know, that's just all of his threats. Then he would have no follow-up plays, no threats. Should Drake be able to find a Terminus, and there's not a real reason to either, because this is 9 damage, and next turn it's 7. It's 9 more, and Drake is only at 6 life, so got a Chalice of the Void coming here. X is 1. Drake is probably looking for a Terminus before the draw step. He has found himself a fetch land, which is a good start. He's almost certainly going to need that. But we know with Drake having or with sorry, Samuel having that warping whale, I think, in hand, or what I think is a warping whale. Um, Drake could just be in a lot of trouble here. He would have to have not only a a terminus, but also a way to stop and fight over that warping whale. Otherwise, he will just die right now to the attack. I guess Drake could also use his Venser defensively. And there is another Reality Smasher, which is now makes it all or nothing for the terminus. We'll see if Drake can find the attack step. Drake did not find a terminus. He's going to have to dig for it here. It's 3 more looks. Don't believe the last card in Drake's hand is a pair of, or a blue card and a Force of Will, so this Warping Whale will probably just do Sasser in. Now, granted, if I'm wrong and there are 2 cards and one of them happens to be Force of Will, we could still have a game for the Miracles player, but he still needs to come up with an answer to every threat after that, even if he finds a terminus here and it is able to resolve. Wear Tear, Force of Will, Brainstorm, and that does it. The Miracles player succumbs to that pile of reality smashing and thought not seeing. I don't actually know what I'm talking about. Eldrazi are weird, but in any event, they're powerful, and they proved it right there as Samuel Reed takes this game and this match 2-0, securing him a spot, I believe, in the top 8.